NoFap tells you to focus on costs in order to quit porn. It's giving me PIED, it's giving me brain fog, it's a waste of time. I had these problems for 6 years and I was focusing on costs so much. It wasn't working, it wasn't helping me quit PMO. I was having to use willpower, it was miserable, it was hopeless, it was frustrating as fuck. The simple reason why this doesn't work is because you know the costs and you're willing to pay them when you decide to use PMO. The reason why you're willing to pay them is because there's such massive benefit on the front end for you that you're willing to pay that cost. If I go to the shop and I buy a tube of toothpaste for £2, right? £2 for a tube of toothpaste. Why do I make the decision to pay that £2? Because I know I need toothpaste. I know I need it in my life, otherwise my teeth are going to get fucked up. It's no different when you decide to use PMO. You know the costs, but you're willing to pay them because you see massive benefit on the front end. It's like a measuring up. When you have the tube of toothpaste, it costs £2. You're willing to pay because you care about your teeth this much, so you're willing to pay that. It's the same with PMO. It's not a sign of dopamine addiction or addiction in general. You just really want to pay the costs. So what's the solution here? The solution is to do what NoFap will never ever tell you to do, which is to look at the reasons why you like it on the front end and question whether those benefits that you think you're getting from PMO on the front end are actually true. So I know from coaching a lot of people over Telegram that the most common reasons why people PMO on the front end is they believe it makes them escape. They believe it gives them pleasure. But the pleasure belief, they think it's giving them pleasure, but really it's emotional relief tied up in that. So emotional relief and pleasure, these are the two biggest reasons why people are willing to pay immensely high costs to PMO. So we have this weighing up here, right? We have these perceived benefits. The key thing to understand is that the benefits that you think are in PMO, that you're willing to pay the costs to get, are perceived benefits. You see the benefits in the PMO. The benefits might not actually be coming from the PMO, but you believe that PMO is doing something magical to you to give you those benefits. And you'll feel these benefits when you PMO. You might feel like you're escaping. But is PMO doing that for you? Or are you doing that for you and then blaming the PMO? I'll go over to this in another video, but in this one I just want to talk about how we weigh up options and why working on costs won't really work. So let's go back to the example of toothpaste. Let's say I go down a YouTube rabbit hole and I find all this information about toothpaste, about how our hunter-gatherer ancestors never used toothpaste and they had better teeth than us. And I'm watching this guy on YouTube and he's talking about all this stuff and he talks about how they put fluoride in the toothpaste, which isn't good for us. And I'm watching this and I buy into it, slowly, I buy into it. Maybe toothpaste isn't good for me. Maybe it takes me a few months, but I come to this conclusion in my head, mentally, internally, that the benefits I thought I was getting from toothpaste, i.e. it helps my teeth, I'm actually not getting those benefits. And in fact, it's hurting my teeth. So now when I go to the shop and I make that purchasing decision, remember that decision, £2 for the toothpaste, but you're willing to pay it because you care about your teeth more. Because the perceived benefits of the toothpaste now go down, because I now no longer believe that it's helping me, and now I believe that it's actually hurting me. So now the £2, I'm not willing to pay that anymore. I'm not willing to pay anything for it. I genuinely don't want the toothpaste. Now, of course, this is a hypothetical example. I personally believe that toothpaste helps me, but you see my point. My point is, do you see how the price of the toothpaste hasn't really changed? What changed is this side of the equation. Benefits that I see on the front end, not the costs, the front end benefits. The benefits when you make that purchasing decision to use PMO. It's a purchasing decision. When you see less benefit on the front end, the costs now become a bit more apparent, relatively speaking. So you lower the perceived benefits because you're not getting the benefits you think you're getting from PMO, but that's, as I said, that's a separate topic. Now the costs become a bit more obvious. Now you're thinking about the £2 and you're like, I ain't paying that £2. I'd rather have the £2 for me and I can use that to spend on other stuff. Have that £2. It's not much money, but it's £2. £2 is £2, save it. So the difference is you've gone from desperately needing that toothpaste, feeling like you need it, to now no longer wanting it at all. Do you see that difference? Do you see how we've not changed the costs here? We haven't banged on about the costs, because you're willing to pay those costs, reducing the perceived benefits, and then you won't want to do it. Is this blowing your mind? No one in the NoFap space will talk about this, because in the NoFap space, they just talk about costs, or they self-deny and delude and think, oh, porn isn't pleasurable, it's not pleasurable, or they affirm. It's not the same. Debunking is going from thinking that the PMO is doing something for you to realizing that it isn't doing that. And when you no longer attribute what is essentially massive value to PMO, why would you want it? Because the toothpaste doesn't have that massive value anymore. Because I now, in this hypothetical scenario, no longer believe that it has the ability to prevent my teeth decaying, and actually I think it's going to make my teeth worse. In conclusion, you're already willing to pay the costs. You've been banging on about the cost to yourself for years and years. I did this for years, and I made the cost even bigger in my head. I found out more costs, but because I believed there was such immense value in PMO, in the moment, because that went unaddressed, I made that purchasing decision each time. And you have as well, probably. This should be quite mind-blowing to you. This is how you escape the PMO trap. A very vital component of it is realizing the benefits you think you're getting are not coming from PMO, they're coming from you mentally. Things like emotional relief and escape, which you can look at chapters 17 and 18 in the Freedom Model. I'll link it below as always. Read that shit because it's so important. Share this vid because we need to share the truth, and we need to transform the nofap space to actually fucking learn the truth here. We can save people from immense pain. Like the vid for the algorithm so we can spread it around, and subscribe because we're putting out more videos here and we need this important information to get out there. It's really fucking important. Okay, that's it.